what we thought the cerebellum did was only 20% of the output. In 2018, when they were able to functionally image it, it opened this whole new world to our understanding of, the cerebellum doesn't just balance and coordinate the body, it actually balances and coordinates emotions and thoughts. Balances and coordinates your immune function, your gut function, digestion, your endocrine system. Working in concussion and traumatic brain injury, we worked with a lot of really cool athletes. And something that we noticed was a big part of it, and really what shined a light on concussion, was if we would make their one-legged stand better or their finger to nose, we could make a certain improvement in their depression, anxiety, and stress symptom score. The cerebellum coordinates how we replicate and create DNA changes. So when you make a change in that cerebellar function, which NET has shown that they do, you make a change in not only the coordination of your thoughts and your emotions, but also your physical balance, your immune balance, your genetic balance, and how you create those proteins and break those proteins, as well as your digestion and all of those other things that fall into that picture.
This new understanding of the cerebellum can't be understated. It's responsible for far more than we previously thought. So the more clearly the cerebellum is communicating with other parts of the brain, the better your overall health can be. This is why the discovery that NET can improve functional connectivity is such a big deal.
I mean, when you boil it down, our brain really only has 3 jobs, right? It has all these receptors to perceive the world around it. Then it has to process that information, and it has to form a reaction to that. And there's really some very specific neurocircuitry, but the same neurocircuitry works for a reaction, whether it's a thought or an emotion, or whether it's me reaching to pick up a pencil off the table. They go through the same patterns or through the same pathways in the brain. When we carry emotional baggage, so to speak, or when we live in that amygdalar wind-up, that amygdalar hijacking, we decrease prefrontal cortex activity. If the prefrontal cortex isn't there to gate things, control things, it allows for everything else to run haywire. In what the research has been able to show of changing the amygdalar function and then allowing for that blood to go to the prefrontal, I haven't seen anything else show that. Not on a neurophysiological level like that. And when you do that, now your prefrontal cortex can create different systems and different plasticity and different pathways. And when you do that, you now start to create changes in the early immediate gene response. So your brain starts to create different proteins and connect to different things, and it literally changes the cellular level.
Adding to the literature on NET comes a new paper published in 2025 in the Journal of Obstetrics and Gynecology. It states, NET appears to be associated with widespread changes in functional connectivity in a number of brain areas that support pain perception, motor function, and emotional processing. Consistent with what previous studies have found, this improvement in functional connectivity in the brain seems to be part of the neurological signature of receiving NET.
I would love for the healthcare field in general, right, to understand that there's an emotional component to everything, especially when we look at chronic conditions. When you live in fear, when you have that amygdalar hijacking, when you have that limbic windup or that NEC, it's going to decrease the way that the prefrontal cortex can activate. We know that stress destroys the brain. We know that lifestyle choices are responsible for most of our heart disease and cancer and all of that. Well, when we can change the way you perceive the world, because we're changing your limbic, your emotional reality, now we change the way you respond to that world. And how big is that if we can eliminate the lifestyle choices and eliminate those things, because now you view the world more appropriately. And knowing that we can make changes in the function of that from a neurophysiological perspective is huge.
All of One's groundbreaking research is privately funded. With ongoing studies, they remain at the forefront of understanding the mind-body connection, and they're just getting started. Consider becoming a donor to support future research. And to stay up to date, don't forget to subscribe and follow us on social media.